This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Jim. I talked to you last Friday morning. KC9 Victor, King Victor. This is K1 Germany, Zebra London, K1GZL up here in northern New Hampshire at Clarksville. And I want to thank you very much for your programming last Friday. I wanted to mention one thing when I was talking about my experience at the ARRL in 1951. My call at that time was W2 Zebra George, W2ZGG, and it was around 1960 that I did get my license as K1GZL, living in Maine, just north of Portland, Maine at that time. But you sound great this morning. KC9 Victor, King Victor, K1GZL.
Roger, George. I think it is. Thank you for the report. It seems to be, it's hard to tell about this band at this hour. I just have been contemplating maybe moving this to an afternoon, maybe like 3 o'clock. Conditions might be better on 40 at that time. What do you think?
Well, it's hard to say. You have to try it out. You may have a point there. Because we are getting into the zone of the sun going down earlier and earlier, and it may be okay, even 4 o'clock. I'm not sure if you're on daylight time or standard time. I'm sorry about that. Central time over Eastern time. I know you're right near the border in southern Indiana there, but it could be that 3 or I'll leave it up to you. I'll leave it up to you. But right now your signal is great. You're well over 9. I was just going to mention that situation in Panama. That would only take about a minute if you wanted to include that. The name is Charlie. The handle here is Charlie, L-E-Y on the last 3 letters. KC9 Victor, King Victor, K1GZL, up in northern New Hampshire at Clarksville, right on the Canadian border.
Roger, Charlie. I'm sorry. I was trusted my memory, and there you go. You get to a certain age, you can't trust your memory. But anyway, I think it's really unfortunate that our 100-watt friends are not showing up too good at the 400 and 500 mile mark with this band where it is. I think 100 watts is the backbone of amateur radio, and I would like to perform a better service for them and have them sound better in their check-ins as they do, unfortunately, particularly at this hour. Because 100 watts at 300 or 400 miles is now coming in at about 1 to 2 dB above my noise level. So, they're right there towards the noise. Roger?
Yeah, absolutely, there, Jim. I understand that. And, it's hard to make any kind of a recording of anybody that is hard to copy. If you'd like, I'll give you a little idea what happened to me in Panama. Go ahead.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Well, it turned out to be I got out of the Navy in late March of 1954. And my mother, myself, and my dad, we decided to take a trip down to Panama. So we got on it's either the Cristobal or the Panama. We went down on one and came back on the other. But anyway, we got down to Panama and ended up in Panama City. And I noticed that they had a flight. They had a plane that would fly out of there and go over to the San Blas Islands. These are islands, you have to cross the Isthmus of Panama, right over the Darien jungle, and land on these islands. So that's fine. Worked out well. I got over there, and it was a nice flight. And we landed, and it was amazing. It was like going back into a movie or something. All you had were grass shacks, and everybody and all the people under the age of 7 were completely naked. And you had grass huts, and the fellow that greeted us, the pilot and myself, name was Iglesia, and I think that means the church in Espanol. So, but the pilot had to go back to Panama City and leave me there overnight because he had something, was worried about his plane. So he told me to stay with Iglesia as his guest. So fine. So after he took off, Iglesia took me through what we would call the witch doctor's hut or something, and this was a long deal. Oh gosh, must have been 60, 70 feet long, grass thatch, and all the living arrangements for grass thatch, and we went inside. And he was telling me this helps cure this. That doll works with the people to help cure that. And there were piles and piles of trinkets and everything you can think of. And there, right in the middle of all of this, was this toilet seat. And I said, Iglesia, why is there a toilet seat on top of all these, all of everything else here? He looks me right in the eye and says, that's your hemorrhoids, KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger. Now, you were you in the headhunter land there?
Oh, yes. They were telling me that there were headhunters in the Darien jungles as we flew over it, and that was, I wouldn't say exactly comforting. Go ahead.
Roger that. Yeah, it's tough on an airplane if you have to come in there and land amongst the headhunters without anything to barter with, too much. You kind of, you're at peril. There have been quite a few very wealthy people that have probably more money than they have since, that have disappeared in those jungles and probably were a dinner for some tribes. Roger?
I would say that's a strong possibility, Jim. But it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And these grass homes of these people, it's like you're almost in a movie. And I was expecting Humphrey Bogart to come out any minute out of one of them, Gord.
Roger, sailing as African Queen there. That was a great movie. Well, Charlie, I appreciate your checking in this morning, as always, as recent, and thanks for doing that, sir. And you're sounding, you're 10 dB over my noise level, so you're doing a great job, Roger.
Okay, well, thank you very, very much for the report, and I want to thank you again, Jim, for, excuse my voice, it goes out in the morning occasionally. It's a pleasure, and I hope you find the time that you can hear the lower powered stations in the afternoon. So I'll sign with you on this one. I want to thank you again, just for the heck of it. As I stand by for you there, I'll give you an idea, a couple seconds of how you're coming in here.
Yeah, since that have disappeared in those jungles and probably were a dinner for some tribes.
Roger on that, and I hope you could hear that. Okay, Jim, I'm going to go down to 37 watts. Let me go barefoot here. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm running 37 watts right now. I wonder how that is coming through. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. You dropped well, to about 2 dB above my noise level. About it from 1.5 dB to 2 dB above my noise level, Roger, from a 10 over my noise level.
Okay, well, thank you so much, and good luck on everything. And this is October 19th, 2018. K1GZL signing clear with KC9VKV. Thank you again, Jim.
Roger that, sir. Roger that. And just out of curiosity, what would you be doing, say, around, say 3 o'clock this afternoon?
Okay, are you on Standard Time, or are you on, are you on Eastern Time, or are you on Central Time?
We're on Eastern Time.
Okay, I know you're near the line in southern Indiana. Yeah, I could try it at 3 o'clock, yes. And plus or minus this frequency, whatever's available. I could call you, or you could call me. Go ahead.
Roger, Roger. Well, we'll start on this one and move off if need be at about 3 p.m. My time, 3 p.m. Eastern. Roger, Roger.
Roger on that, Jim. We'll give it a try, and we'll see what the band is like. K1GZL. Nothing like experimentation.
Roger, Roger. Well, you're currently 10 dB over my noise level, so maybe this afternoon at 3 you might be 15 over, which would be 5 dB increase in signal strength, which would mean maybe a 5 dB increase in those that are running 100 watts, which instead of a 2 dB over noise level, it would be a 7, which would be a much better, quieter signal. Anyway, Charlie, thank you so much, and we'll look for you at 3 this afternoon. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor.
Okay, thank you very much, Jim, and hopefully we'll have good propagation at 3 o'clock. K1GZL off and clear.
This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor with the Friday afternoon, or Friday morning, actually, Qso-Vlog program between 10:30 and noon, and on 7189. If you happen to have a radio, you want to check out the modulation, we are recording, and we will be posting this up on YouTube, and you'll be able to go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and the session this morning will be titled My Group Aircheck 10-19-18, frequency 7189. So today's date 10-19-18, and the frequency 7189. So that's how you'll know what this session is to find it, because usually we manage to talk to so many folks and so many call signs that we can't put them all in the title itself. So we just use the date and the time as the frequency as a reference. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor.